Yeah, we say blessings, light, and prosperity. My name is Lila. I can right now. You're listening and watching the Entertainment Report podcast. Keep it locked. Keep your energy up. I spy that you see something you might like. Won't you come over if you really feel it? Love and light.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Muscle, and this is another Two Line Music Hut's Entertainment Report podcast. And today we have a really special guest in the building. Listen, this lady here has one of the hottest EPs out right now called The Experience. You know who we have in the building today? We have Lila IK in the building today. What's going on, my sister?
Bless. I'm good. I'm good. They I enjoy the day and thing. Thanks for
Uh,
having me.
you're welcome. Thank you so very much for coming through. Right now, what's the vibe like in Jamaica where you are right now?
I guess globally, I think people are just at a standstill, trying to figure out what's going to be happening next and all of that. But Jamaicans are pretty hopeful people, no matter what situations they're in. So I find everybody is handling it as best as they can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. And where you are you more in the country right now or you're in the city?
I'm in Kingston.
You're in Kingston. So what's the vibe like in Kingston opposed to being in the country?
Just natural Kings city versus country vibe, The country things are a bit more chill and relaxed. People or you find more farmers and all of that. In the city it's more fast paced. People are eating out and restaurants and all of that, so it's
All of
more
that.
chill. In the country, in the city things are a bit more upbeat.
Definitely. And I know for the about the past 3 to 4 or 5 months, you haven't been traveling, haven't been touring, haven't been doing anything. All right. Except for recording videos and stuff you could do at home that you don't usually could do on the road. What has that experience been like for you since you were traveling so much and then it basically came to a halt one day?
It's definitely challenging, personally. You're as a musician or creative in general, I don't think it's not easy to deal with just being in one place, especially when you're used to moving up and down. So for especially the first few months, I felt, just a bit out of place, like what's really going to happen. But I find after I start releasing music and start getting, more interactions from people who follow my music and fans and everything and getting feedback, you still feel as though you're still up to something and doing something. At this point in the whole pandemic, I'm really at just chilling out, trying to maximize on the fact that I'm not traveling or have more time to be at home. So I'll play my guitar, I'll read a book. Sometimes I'd go out of town and stay at different places too, to just keep yourself up full.
Okay. And for somebody that's a creative, especially somebody like you, because you seem to display your moods throughout your entire music, there's so many different things. How has that affected your creativity while being down?
Yeah, definitely for me, my creativity and inspiration, it's directly impacted by my mood and vibe. But I guess because I was working on my project and it's my first project. I'm in studio with people who I'm comfortable with, so it didn't really translate as much. I tried to just create music from the more upful side of the whole thing. And personally, I definitely have low periods where I'm just like very bored and over everything, wanting to get back on the road, wanting to be around my band and just kind of get back into the whole being an artist. But you learn to deal with it as the day. I just start taking every day a day at a time. Like, what do I have to do today? I have these interviews. I'll just focus on that. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense, especially the funny thing with it. You see, when you're traveling, especially when you're touring, you go on a European tour and you're gone for months. It's like sometimes it's like, man, I wish I could go home. Now you're home for months. Now you wish
Mhm.
you could be touring on the road.
Yeah, man, for sure. It's just a humane thing. You just always want, people really and truly don't ever reach a point of just complete satisfaction. And I guess this is actually teaching me that to just slow down and take every day a day at a time and appreciate it for what it is and not just wanting to be up and down all the time. Or as you say, sometimes I'm in Europe and I can't wait to get back home. So it's just really just working with whatever situation you end up in.
Yeah. And what's the biggest lesson all of this has taught you the last couple of months now, especially about yourself?
It definitely is teaching me patience. I can definitely be an impatient person
Okay.
in personal life, in music, whatever. So it has definitely taught me to just chill out and allow things to develop with time and allow things to change accordingly.
Mhm. That makes sense, especially when you don't really have a choice. It's not like this is something where everybody else is flying around and you have to stay home. We're all sitting down right now and we all have to stay home, and this is how we have to communicate right now.
Yeah, for sure, for
You,
sure.
you understand? Before we get into your big body of work that you just released lately, the experience, I want to ask you a couple of things leading up to the experience. Like, what was the feeling like? A lot of times people would ask you, what was the feeling like the first time you heard your song on the radio? But even before that, what was the feeling like the first time you actually recorded a song and heard the final product of it?
It was pretty emotional for me, one because it's not like when I left country and came to Kingston, my main goal was not to be an artist. I didn't come here in search of trying to get a break or whatever. I really had to take a break from university, and I was really just trying to get a job so I can make some money to finish my studies. So to see in a year or year and a half span, to find that I'm in studio with like professional musicians, working with Protoje, and just having the real experience of developing my craft and becoming, it was definitely a very overwhelming period for me.
Okay. And what were you taking in school at that time there?
I was studying to be a teacher, so I'd be teaching um, business related subjects and literacy.
Yeah. So then how did you go from wanting to be a teacher to becoming an artist?
As I say, I moved to Kingston, got a job, started saving, and I'm not living at home anymore, so I'm basically responsible for myself, food bills, everything. So it wasn't really adding up as it relates to, getting to finish my studies. I did start university, but I couldn't finish, not with what I was making.
Okay.
So in between schools, I'd still be going to jam sessions because music has always been a hobby. So not being at home now, I get to go wherever I want, wherever the concerts are, or whatever.
Mhm.
And I'd be there, and just by singing, and more people be like, "Yo, that girl, she came last week. She can really sing." Couple promoters would have been at the spaces I'd sing at, and they'd ask me to come on their show, and it kind of just blossomed into, people realizing and me getting a bit more famous, quote unquote, or
Yeah.
popular around Kingston. And Protoje, being the type of person that he is, always have an ear out for like very special talent. So he heard and reached out and said, I want to invite you to come studio with me one day, and I did, and that's how we linked up.
Okay. And when did you actually make that decision that, like, okay, I'm not going to finish schooling. I'm now going to go straight 100 into music? Where was that decision made?
I really feel like it's something that really and truly kind of just slowly evolved into what it was, because even while I was in studio recording, I was still going to school. I was still working, so it became a lot because I had school, I had work, and I was still in studio at like hours at night. So I find I had to decide what I really wanted to do with my life within that particular time, what would make more sense. I wasn't making enough money to go to school, but the music was bringing me into different spaces. I went on my first tour in 2017.
Okay.
Um, I went to England with Protoje, and I came back and just decided, I saw how people responded to my music. He seemed to have so much faith in what I can do. So I guess I'll just kind of just focus my attention there. And that's how I got into it.
All right. And when you actually started out on your journey now, was your stage name Lila Ike at that time, or you didn't really have a stage name? Where did that actually come into play?
Yeah, my stage name was Lila Ike because I had figured all of that out before all of that. So Lila is kind of a nickname I got when I was growing up because my real name is Alicia. So for
Okay.
some reason, people always breaking it down, calling me Lee or Lisi. So
Mhm.
someone said Lila to me one day, and that kind of connected. So that's how Lila came about.
Mhm.
Ike, which is short, is a short of Ike Chuku. He's actually a friend of mine who's his dad is Nigerian, his mom is Trinidadian. So he basically, I met him, he told me his name, and I was just fascinated with the fact that his actual name was Ike Chuku. I actually was like making fun of him and saying, you know how you name, how was that your name? Because, growing
Right.
up in the country, I'm just used to Peter and Paul and John. So
Hmm.
he told me the whole history of his name and the fact that, he's from a tribe in Nigeria and what it meant, which is God is powerful. And it just kind of clicked with me. I was like, I'm going to use this as my artist name. I think it's really special. And so I just put the two together. Lila Ike.
Yeah, for sure. That's powerful right there. Because I made sure today when I was actually putting up the name on the screen there that I made sure I had the accent over the
Yeah,
E.
man.
Because you understand?
Appreciate that because it makes a big difference. A lot of people call me all sorts of things, Icky, Ike, all of those things. So it's really nice that you did your research and ensured to get it right. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. You have to understand with artists do the smallest things that most people won't realize is what means the most to them.
Yeah,
You understand right
for
there?
sure.
Okay. Even with you now, when it comes to your music, what's the difference with Alicia and Lila Ike?
When it comes to music, what's the difference between Alicia and Lila Ike? I really feel like fundamentally a lot of my energy and vibe and um, I guess that pain or whatever it is that people connect to within my voice, it's coming from Alicia, meaning what I went through as a child growing up, my whole experience just being in the country. That's kind of where the soul of my music is from, my actual self. Lila Ike now, I would think it's the evolvement of it all. So it's like the evolution, sorry, of it. So it's the style that I have, the way I dress, the way I operate on stage, all of that. It's kind of Lila Ike would have just been like the package and the brand of the whole thing, you know?
Yeah. Definitely agree 100% because what I like with you, I did some research and the oldest video I could find was something from 2016. It was a song you did with, I can't remember the name of the artist right now, but you
Yeah.
could see you were basically the exact same artist as you were then, as in your
Mm,
style. Your style is very authentic. It's nothing that
yeah,
was made up or manufactured
yeah,
because you linked with Protoje and you're
yeah,
doing
man.
stuff like no, it was always authentic, and that's what very artsy.
For sure, for sure. I've always been an artsy person, even from when I was a kid, because there's a lot of things I would have gotten into. I used to paint, I used to draw before I even realized I could sing. So I
Mhm.
was always good with my hands and creating stuff. So that energy kind of exude in the way I carry myself and even how my hair might look or my outfits or whatever. So it's a holistic thing and it's definitely not generated because, okay, I decided to be an artist, so I need to look a particular way. It really just flowed. Like, that's just me.
Yeah. No, you could see that, and that comes through your music because I like to, if I was to compare, this is just so people could visualize what I'm trying to say. A lot of times I see you go from Tracy Chapman to Nicki Minaj right back to Tracy Chapman.
Facts. That's true. That's true. And that's
Yeah.
just in I just in hopes of just reaching everybody, because I understand that not everybody is into everything. Everybody has their own kind of music that works for them, especially young people right now. They're more into the BPM being a bit more up. You get what I'm saying? And I know where my love lies as it relates to music and the kind of music I really love making.
Mhm.
But I have to realize that I'm on a mission to reach these people. So
Yeah.
finding a way to kind of just meet everybody halfway and merging it is very important to me.
All right, cool. Because I've heard you mention that you're not a reggae artist, you're not a dancehall artist, you're a Jamaican artist.
Facts.
All right. Okay. So then, what makes somebody a reggae or dancehall artist? Is it the words that they're saying or the beats that they're on, or a combination of both? What would you say would make you a
Um,
reggae or a dancehall artist?
I think theoretically it would definitely have a lot to do with the whole beat of it, like what the music sounds like, because you can clearly tell the difference between reggae and dancehall,
Hmm.
you know. But because I am not one to necessarily I don't believe in genres. I understand that came about when they tried to find a way to classify the music that they were hearing. It's definitely a bunch of different flavors, but even to how advanced it's getting right now, you can hear a song and don't even know which box to put it in. And that just shows that you just accept it for what it is. But we live in a world where Grammys is a thing and awards and all of these different accolades are things. So they need to distribute it accordingly and package it accordingly. But I feel like reggae and dancehall to me is the same. It's just two different faces of the same coin. You know? Yeah.
I agree 100%. And you could even tell in your music, you could almost turn on again, we're going to say for argument's sake, you could
Yeah.
turn on the dance hall and turn off the dance hall at
For
will.
sure. For sure.
Look at somebody like the singer, any singer you see from the UK. When they
Mm,
sing, you can't tell where they're from. When
yeah.
they speak, that's when you
Yeah.
can tell where they're from. And I see the
Facts.
same thing with you. Until you slide in one and two patois inside of some
Yeah.
lyric, you can't
Yeah.
tell where Lila's from.
For sure. I
Mhm.
get that a lot too because even as my music begins to grow and there's more visibility and more people are learning about me, I get a lot of, say, I didn't think it's Jamaica you were from until I saw you, or I heard you in an interview, or I heard that particular song and heard how you said whatever. So I do get what you're saying as it relates to how certain things are enunciated, and that's why for me it just boils down to being a Jamaican or being an American or being somebody from the UK. Your flavor of music is just going to be your culture. It's a reflection of that, because I can't just say, well, I'm from Jamaica, but this is all that I have to offer musically. You
Yeah.
get me? I love dancehall music. I probably listen to dancehall more than I do reggae right now. So why not just sing whatever my heart desire?
Makes sense because you seem like that type of person. You're going to sing, write, perform whatever's in your heart that day.
Yeah, man,
And
for
then that's
sure.
what you're going to present. I'm pretty
For
sure
sure.
you have a lot of half written songs, half recorded songs because your mood
Tons.
changed.
Tons. Even while working on music, I'll go to the studio to actually voice a particular song, and like Protoje and whoever it is that I work with, they know how I work. So I'll be up and excited about this song, and I'm halfway through. And because my main thing with music too, I don't like forcing it. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna take 5 hours just working on one song if it is that I'm not in the mood to just to finish the song. I don't really like operating like that. So as you say, there's a tons and tons of unfinished songs that sometimes just pop up when they're necessary. So like even for the project, the Solitude was a song I started on my guitar. It was never a song that I intended to have on the project, but it somehow ended up on it.
Crazy. What inspires you? What makes you write a song and make you feel like, okay, you know what? This is what I want to do today.
I feel what inspires me is experiences that I experience in a way that makes me want to talk about it.
Mhm.
If I hear a conversation, like even watching a movie, I have a song that isn't out as yet that I really like. And how I wrote that song is I was watching, I'm not sure if you know this series called Billions,
Yep.
comes on Netflix, one of my
Mhm.
favorite series to watch.
Okay.
And I remember the guy, the main character in it, he was talking to his wife and he said, "That's not a real smile." And I was lying in bed and watching it, and I always have my guitar close by. So when he said that, I had to immediately, I just had an epiphany. I just paused the show, took up my guitar, and I just started singing. That's not a real smile. Where did you like go? And it just became a whole song. So for me, inspiration, I read this book called Big Magic, and it basically speaks about inspiration as being a living thing, a living energy. So if I see something and I experience something that makes me want to write about it, I immediately just get into that vibe, whether singing something on the recorder on my phone or whatever it is. So I can't pinpoint one thing that really inspires me. It literally just happen in boats sometimes.
Yeah. It just, we could be having this conversation as soon as you finish, say, hey, you know what? I
Yeah,
never
you
thought
said
about that.
something that stood out to me, and I just feel like, for sure. Because even the line in Solitude, where I'm like, everybody wants to talk to me, but nobody wants to hear me out. That was a real statement from a friend of mine. They're like, people just always want to talk, 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 and they want to talk about this, but nobody's really trying to hear what I have to say. And it's something I connected with. So I just say, you know what, I'm right about this.
I could understand, especially as an artist that's in a new space where, again, everybody wants to talk to you, but nobody really wants to hear you.
Yeah, man, facts.
And I
You know,
understand that.
it's a very deep statement because it's even coming from a point where we are having a conversation. You know, it's not like I'm not getting the opportunity to say anything, but what we're talking about is not really real. You know, it really doesn't have any benefit to me or anything to do with my well-being.
It's very superficial. Two more questions
Yeah,
before we get into the EP here. Super random. What sign are you?
I'm an Aquarian.
Guy, get out of here. That's
Yeah,
why I'm the exact same sign. When is your birthday? Not the year, what month?
January 23rd.
23rd. Okay, so you just got into Aquarius by like I think 2 days because I think it
Yeah,
starts in 21st, 20. I'm February 18th. I got in by 1 day also. So
yeah,
once you told me about creative and certain things just inspire you just randomly, I
yeah.
1000% understand what
Yeah,
you mean.
man, for
Yeah.
sure, for
Very
sure.
free spirited,
Yeah,
and
man,
you're a nice rebel, but you're a rebel.
100%. That's
Yeah.
facts. That is facts for
I knew that.
sure.
I know
Yeah.
that 100%. All right.
Mhm.
Again, right now, what's on your playlist? Who you listening to?
Right now, I'm listening to her, this
Yep.
artist from California. I'm
Yep.
listening to Sir from LA. Um, I'm listening to this singer called Snow Allegra.
Okay.
I'm listening to a lot of dancehall music, like almost all the dancehall that's being played.
Mhm.
Uh, I'm listening. What's that other singer? I found this artist the other day called Ralph Castillo.
Mhm.
Very underground young artist, but very talented. Like
Mhm.
creates his own rhythms, records himself, everything. So off the top of my head, that's what I'm listening to the most these days.
It seems like you like a lot of underground artists that's just at the tip of
Yeah,
breaking, but they didn't really break it.
yeah, yeah, for
So
sure.
that makes sense.
I like it because it's just raw and untouched talent there. You know,
Mhm.
it's a bit different when you get a bit commercial and labels and everybody giving their input of what your sound should be or what we should be. When people are on the brink of becoming, is like they're just expressing their raw soul. You know, so for me, I really like talent like that, and I like well-rounded musicians or artists who can play an instrument and curate their sound and everything. So yeah.
Yeah. So somebody like you, how do you balance loving underground stuff, but still having a commercial kind of appeal? How do you balance that?
I feel like, you know, to be honest, I feel for me, I've always set out to ensure that my realness is something that is also palatable to, you know, the commercial market. So I don't want to ever be that artist that's going to change who I am to fit in anywhere. I'd much rather find another means of doing that instead of touching the music. So maybe how I look, maybe how I dress can be what really reels people in and not necessarily just the pop zone or the commercial zone or whatever. You know, it really I really want my music to remain soulful. But I'm also a millennial, so you know you find creative ways to connect with people on a global scale. You know?
I agree with you 100% here. All right, let's get into this crazy EP called
Yeah.
The Experience. All right. Let me tell you from my point of view, and then we're gonna go through track
Yeah.
by track and get it done. My point of view, it seems like when I listen to this album from track 1 to track 7, it is 7 tracks on it,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
I feel like I just want to go outside, burn some incense, lie down on a blanket, and float away.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's
Yeah.
really nice.
It has that vibe to it. It's like it's going to take you on an experience where it's going to show you so many different things. But for you to see these things, you have to close your eyes and not even listen to the music, feel the music.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. That's the best way anybody has ever described it before.
Yeah.
You know?
Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's get into your 7 tracks here and break it down and see exactly where your mind was when you're thinking here. First one here, the one, would we say this is the lead single, I Spy?
Yeah, I Spy is the lead single. It's first one I released from the project. Well, Where I'm Coming From was already out, but
Mhm.
I Spy is definitely the lead single.
All right. What was the meaning behind that song and what made you put out a song, something like, and especially the it has a traditional reggae feel underneath, but then
Mm-hmm.
the drum pattern, it could be either a soca, a tropical house,
Yeah.
dance hallish, anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a real
Yeah.
100% feel. So let's talk about it.
Yeah. For sure. That's what I guess most people would consider reggaeton.
Mhm,
You know, like Latin kind of style too. But I linked up with Izzy, who is a
mhm.
producer. Most people know him from Toast, and he played me that beat, and I wasn't immediately into it because I was like, coming out a second chance. It's a big jump from it's a big transition into what I'm doing. And he's like, trust me, your whole authentic vibe and energy, no matter what rhythm you go on, you're gonna always be you, and it's gonna always stand out. And so him encouraging me and me hearing the rhythm, I was like, all right. I actually deliberately wanted that particular track to have some sort of a pop sound. My whole approach to it was writing from that perspective. And so I started humming the melody, I spy, I spy, because I was feeling like this needs to be bright and summer and people can dance and feel upful. And
Yeah.
you know as I go along in the song, I realize, okay, so it's sounding poppy and all of that, but I still need to drop in some authentic style. And I guess in the verse where I'm like, I know it's what this play for now, my mode kind of, you involve some dancehall elements and everything. So yeah, that song was very fun to record. Um, it's been doing really good, and a lot of people are into it, and it's doing exactly what I, wanted it to do.
All right. Big, big, big song there. Now, this song here, Where I'm Coming From, this was actually the first song that I heard from you, even though I know
Yeah,
this was the second one you put out.
yeah,
This was the second one that you had put out officially for yourself.
yeah.
This was the first one I heard, Where I'm Coming From. Talk about that and even the visuals for that too. I want to know what was on
Yeah,
your.
man. That song in itself is me paying homage, to where I'm from. Because literally and figuratively speaking about my journey, I'm literally from Christiana, Manchester, and everywhere in the music video has been spaces. Because I deliberately, I brought the creative my creative director. I showed her all the places when we were doing the scouts and told her what each space meant to me. So the video starts with me sitting on a bed, and that's the first place I settled at when I came to Kingston. So that's
Okay.
at that space in Papine called Tavern. So
Yes.
that room, when I first got it, it was actually a storage where they kept a lot of old stuff. And I had somebody help me clean it out, and I lived there for a while. And I was just settled in that little room for a while. A lot of my dreams and goals and aspirations I thought of within that room. And so I say, I needed to have that a part of the journey, because that's when I came to Kingston. But I wanted the video to show me going back home. So we started in Kingston. All the people in the music video too who are involved are all people that I know and people that have, looked out for me one way or another. So the video goes now to me going back to the country with Protoje. I come from a place where superstars are a thing. Me going back home, even with that song, I'm not like the biggest artist in Jamaica, but you can't tell people down my place that to them
Yeah.
I'm a Rihanna to them. I'm treated as a queen when I'm even before I was an artist. People just always take on to me.
Okay.
So, I visited my community, the shop with the men smoking the chalice. I used to stay in that shop when my mom went to work, and I came from school. I had to stay there until she come get me. The market, my grandma used to sell produce in the market, so I'd be there with her on Saturdays. My mother's bar, I'd have to stay in there a couple times and help her out. And it's just a holistic vibe that I wanted to immortalize in a way that no matter how huge I get as an artist, because it can become something that's ego driven, and you can get distracted and get caught up. And so I wanted that song to be a song that both reminded me of where I'm coming from, and in the same breath encourage somebody who might be on the same journey or a similar journey, to just help them to understand that it might not be the easiest thing when you start out, but once you stay at it with consistency and just faith in the Most High or whatever God means to them, then you definitely have somewhere to go.
Definitely, definitely. Great, great, great. And I could understand what you said. I pictured this in my mind already. This was basically what this entire visuals were about, but I
Yeah.
wanted to hear it from your side. I'll tell you, my favorite part of the video itself was when the little girl touched your face. It's
Yeah,
like
that's my
she
niece.
she didn't see you as Lila, you know. She see
No,
you as
that's my
Lisa being you.
favorite part. Is like she say, "Oh my God," you know. But yeah, man, that's also my favorite. My favorite part. Even when the video was editing, you know, I was breathing down my creative director's neck because not that she's not good at what she does, but I knew what I wanted the world to see because I know what everything meant to me. So basically, I actually put the entire video together. You know, I didn't do it hands on, but I'm there and telling her, all right, you see that clip? Because even the clip with my niece wasn't gonna be a part of it, you know. And I was like, no, that has to be in there, you know, right there. And that's how it all came together.
Yeah, that right there, 1000% humanized you as a human being, even though, yeah, you're a human being, but
Yeah,
that right there just showed you as the country girl,
yeah, man, for
not the
sure.
star, not the singer, the country
Yeah,
girl.
for
You
sure.
understand? All
Yeah,
right. So then now the next one on the album would be Second Chance. This is
yeah,
actually your first solo visuals that you had put out.
yeah, man, for sure. First solo, yeah, definitely first solo visuals. Um, Definitely one of the songs that really I'd say, you know, immersed me into the industry as like a proper well-rounded reggae artist. You know, that to date is one of my favorite songs that I've released. I listened to it a couple times, well, and I actually can't believe that that's actually me. You know, sometimes I'd sit and watch my music videos outside of myself and be like, you know, this girl, she's actually really good at what she does. So Second Chance, no, I actually had that song for about 2 years or so before I released it because I was going to school, met this young guy from UWI who said his uncle had a studio and
Okay.
he wants me to come by. But it was around the time when I was doing a bunch of like jam sessions. So everybody wanted me to just start recording now. But for some reason I can't record a song and feel comfortable until I know that, you know, the whole aim and goal of it is not just monetarily. And a lot of the people I was meeting at that point was just, yo, big song, this, you know, this can do this, that, that. Let's get it out. But I just held it but anywho, he told me his uncle had a studio and I was iffy about going. But one Saturday morning he called me and I was like, this guy is so persistent. I'm gonna go and see what's up. And I met his uncle who turns out to be one of my dearest friends right now. So he produced Second Chance. I went in the studio. He was working on a rhythm and I came in, he stopped and he's like, oh, so my nephew tell me you're an artist, whatever, you know. Him tell me say, yeah, big singer, but me know all singers, you know, because he's familiar with Garnet, Silk and everybody. So
Okay.
he's like, I know all singers, so I know for sure if what he's talking about. And so he said to me, I must sing something. So I tell him the rhythm that he was playing, he should play it and I'll go in the studio and sing. And he's like, no, man, I know so it work. You know, I sit down and write something. And I was like, no, man, just trust me, no, man, just play the rhythm. Then I go into the studio. And I was there with a friend of mine too. And he's like, trust me, just allow her to go into the studio. And I did. And he started playing the rhythm. And I remember he turned his back, like he's turning his back, scratching his beard and saying, let me see what's going to happen. And as soon as I start, woo, you know, for the rest of the time of me singing, his face was just pasted on the, like, he couldn't believe, you know. And I
Right.
finished, and he's like, "Oh my God!" So, you know, wow, he just couldn't believe. And then I told him, you know, it's not even a song that I had written before. It's all a freestyle. And to this day, like every time he speaks about it or speaks about, he's like, "Cold mom, take up him hand," and all of these things. So that's how that song came about. And you know, Sprocket, his name is Sprocket. He has this sound system in New York from back in the day called Earth Ruler Sound.
Okay. It's Earth Ruler guys
Yeah,
that you're
man.
okay.
Yeah,
Got you.
man. So really dear friend of mine, and you know,
Mhm.
one of them elder, they would definitely, I'd say, change my life for sure.
Definitely. And what I liked about the visuals for Second Chance, it was very stripped down. It was
Yeah,
just
man. We didn't.
basically you in a white room with a white shirt
Yeah,
and jeans, stripped right down.
we didn't want to know storyline and me doing it. Just want, because it was the first time I was putting out a music video. So my creative director was just like, "Yo, let's not do no storyline. Let's just focus on you. Give people the opportunity to see what you look like, to feel your energy. Just be raw, barefoot kind of vibe, you know." And a lot of people connected with that for sure.
Yeah, big one there. All right. The next one on the EP here is we talked about it a bit, but we'll get into it now, would be Solitude. And
Yeah.
especially what I like with the visualizer, it's the same thing that I feel about you. I almost feel like you were born like 30 years too late. You
I
you
think
should have
about that too all the time. I know exactly what you mean.
you should
I
have
know
been born
exactly.
in the 60s and 70s. That's why the visualizer has that type of
Yeah,
older look to it.
yeah,
You understand? But it
for
shows your
sure.
feminine side and it shows
Yeah.
your thuggish side too.
Yeah, man, for sure. For solitude, literally that's just a compilation of just me vibing. So me going to the river and doing my thing. I do that every day. So I do that all the time.
Mhm.
So when we were thinking about what the visualizer would be and me singing about wanting my peace of mind, I was just like, I'm just gonna revisit spaces that actually brings me peace of mind. And we're not going just with the intention of shooting the video. It's like whenever it is that we're planning to go to the river, just bring your camera. Whenever it is I go back to the studio next, just bring your camera. Like that's really the whole energy of it. I wanted to be my natural, like no makeup, no hair, no nothing, just me being me and just give people the opportunity to even connect deeper with the song. And so, that song, as I say, I started it on my guitar. It wasn't something I planned to put on the project, but people really liked it when I played it for them and it ended up being on it.
Yeah, no, big, big, big. My vote, don't change a thing. Don't add no visuals. Just
Yeah.
leave it as is.
No, man,
Solitude
that's
as is.
definitely, I
Yeah,
won't, the whatever video is out now is what's going to be out for them officially.
yeah,
I just
yeah.
wanted to make it clear that this wasn't any done up video. That's the only reason why we call it a visualizer and not the official video. I didn't want people thinking that there was any extra effort placed into making it. It's just natural, you know.
Got you. No, wicked, wicked, wicked. Like that one. Yeah. All right. The next one here is Stars Align. How did you come up with that one there?
Since Protoje put out Bout Noon, he's been telling me he wanted to do like a juggling version of the rhythm where he has different artists on it. Um, and so he sent me the rhythm and he's like, yo, tell me what you come up with for it. And I came up with that song and it's supposed to be a juggling project, but I was like, I really like this song. So let me just put it on my project. Mortimer also has a song on the Bout Noon too that he placed on his project. So
Mhm.
it's a whole vibe.
All right. Big, big, big. This one here, number 6, is my personal favorite. All right. This one is called Forget Me Not. And let
Yeah.
me tell you why this is my personal favorite. I've seen you sing, sing J, rap, and then double speed rap all on one song.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I
It's a
mean?
lot. It's a lot for sure.
Yeah.
Forget Me is also one of my favorite songs. My favorite song from the project because, as you say, I incorporated a lot of elements. It started out all R&B and soulful, one more unanswered calls, and then going into the dance hall part. Me used to think say I'm a real dan that I love you. Like a lady star energy, and then in the trap part, well, one know it's like I wanted
Yeah.
to just show people that yo, I can do whatever, and you can do whatever within a song. Just for
Mhm.
the vibe and just what the song is talking about in general. It's not just about breaking up or whatever. The deeper point is just how important communication is in any relationship. And if it's a case where you can't communicate, especially with everything that's happening in the world, in Jamaica, we have a lot of domestic violence with men killing their women and all of that. I was just like, if it's not working out, it's best that you guys just separate. Because if you can't communicate, one bag of unanswered calls, you're reading my text, not responding, I don't know why you're vexed. That initially make you know say something is up and nobody's talking about their feelings. So
Mhm.
that's really the holistic energy of that song.
All right. Was it an experience that you went through, or it was you just third person yourself? You just put yourself into somebody else's situation?
Um, it's quite a mixture of it all. I feel like we've all been in situations where we're just not able to connect, whether in personal relationships or whatever. But for me, I normally prefer to write from a space where I can put my head on the block and say, listen, I know this for sure because I've experienced it. So with that song, yeah, it's definitely a personal experience.
Yeah, definitely. Big, big song. That for
Yeah,
me showed the most versatility I've ever
yeah,
seen you in one track. That was
yeah,
crazy. You know what
yeah,
I
man.
mean?
It's,
That's
it's
my
a
song
nice.
there.
And the
All right.
production on it is crazy too. Big up Winter James.
Listen, even when you listen right before you start to actually the double time rap,
Yeah.
you have like a
Yeah.
little bridge
Yeah.
there that comes in and it like sets you up right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
Mm,
man. For sure. It's really
yeah.
dope.
I said that was tough there. All right.
Yeah,
And then the last one here on
yeah,
the EP is Thy Will. What I like with this one here, this is where it seems like you go right back to your roots and you keep it very simple. You don't try to do anything extra.
yeah,
Re- Even the rhythm itself,
mm,
very basic. I think it was Baltimore rhythm. I think that
yeah,
one
for
was.
sure.
Yep. Very basic. Give them the thing. But again,
Yeah,
that's what I like. You showed versatility. Let's
yeah.
talk about
Yeah, man, Thy Will is also a song I had for a while. Like a while. I think I started writing Thy Will in probably 2018 or 17 thereabout. It wasn't on that rhythm at first, it was just me vibing to another rhythm. And Protoje actually, when he heard it, he's like, I'd really love to perform, to produce this song. I think it's powerful. I think what you're saying is very important. And he's like, with Baltimore, people are always covering it and whatever, but nobody has ever like interpreted the rhythm and put a vibe like this on it. And so we came up with that. And funnily enough, I actually wasn't gonna put Thy Will on the project. I wasn't gonna put it. And he's like, what? That's where you're, as you say, you're gonna go back to your roots. Like a newcomer who is listening to Lila Ike should know that, yo, this girl, don't get it twisted. We reggae music is our heart and soul. And bringing back a rhythm like Baltimore, and just the topic, the theme of the entire song, especially with what's happening in the world. It's just a very, very important and crucial song. And even how the song ended with the dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, it's like a to be continued.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. Because
for
even
sure.
now that you talk about it, when it ended, I thought it was gonna do something else, but then it just
Yeah,
stopped talking. I
yeah,
said, "All right." I said, "Okay, you guys
yeah,
got me on that
man.
one." All right, so that right there embodies the Experience EP. Tell
Mhm.
them where they could get it and all of that stuff there.
Yeah, man. So it's available everywhere, like on all digital platforms, all social media platforms. You can follow me, Lila Ike. You can stay up to date with everything I have going. So you can get the experience on iTunes, it's on Spotify, it's on Apple Music, Deezer, all of those sonical platforms. You can definitely get it and support it. Thank you.
Definitely, definitely. One last question before I get you out of here. You mentioned something, say that you're a millennial.
Mhm.
You're a millennial working in a business that's basically with older people. What is it like coming in with your fresh ideas versus the no man, this is the way how we've done it. This is how reggae sounds. This is your Jamaican. This is how you're supposed to present it to the world. What's that been like?
I think that the tone of that is actually changing right now, to be honest, especially with what is actually on the music that's on the forefront of Jamaican music at the time right now. I mean, everybody can agree that Coffee is doing amazing for the genre, and you can also realize that she's not doing purest reggae music. Neither is it even dancehall. It's such a special thing you don't even know what to call it. So I feel like that in itself kind of changes the conversation with what I'm doing, what Savannah is doing, what even Protoje and Chronix them. Chronix Della move is definitely like a trap reggae song.
Hmm.
So being alive in a time like this right now and doing music, and also I'm not in studio with just producers who are thinking one-sided. They're actually thinking about expanding, because I work with a lot of young producers to myself. So like JLL and Zaya and Ayatash, who is also young people who you'll hear on Protoge's upcoming album also. You'd
Okay.
realize that young people are actually in the spaces now to make this change, because people from back in the day, they did what they had to do already. They set the foundation and really showed us the science of it. But just being young and creative and curious, you're going to be culture bending and genre bending and all of that, because we're all experimenting and experiencing stuff. So for me, it's and working with people who are actually visionaries and not necessarily caught up in this is what this needs to be. I personally can't operate under like that rigid outlook on life, because you can't just say nothing happens in a linear manner. Things change all the time. So it's no pressure for me. I'm actually more excited, because what this means is that so many more people are going to be interested in what's happening. You can hear a song like a Protoje and a Popcorn, and it works,
Wicked song. I
you
see
know.
the visuals and I seen you in it too,
So
definitely.
I really think it's important for the culture for us all to be working together, and the disparity of genres, and one being good and one being bad and one being conscious and one not conscious. In itself, what it's going to do is holistically bring people together. You get what I'm saying? So I'm chill with all of that.
Yeah. I think because you mentioned that word or two, purists. I think
Yeah,
you guys are purists not to the sound, but
yeah.
to the art of
To
being an
the
artist.
art,
I think that's
exactly.
where the purist comes in for you guys.
For sure, because it's just growing and learning.
Mhm.
A lot. Me and Protoje would have deep conversations all the time, and he's like, a lot of people would think that, I'm the one doing all of this for all of you guys, but in an essence, y'all are doing so much for me. Because if
Mhm.
I didn't see like a you and a Sev, or you guys contributing what you are contributing to the music, then my sound would have probably stayed the same for the past decade that I've been doing my thing. So it's a whole energy exchange that's very important.
You guys found your tribe. So
Yeah,
everybody understands what everybody else is doing.
yeah, and I often think about it, and I'm like, I'd love to hear the music that Bob Marley would be making if he was here now.
I
Like
see.
Garnet Silk and them, just imagining them on some of these productions would be crazy.
Yeah.
No. So it's
You're
just like,
100%. You're
for sure.
100% right because if you look at Bob Marley's music, it's not traditional
No,
reggae per se, you know.
he's been like, he definitely, I feel like he's from the future,
Yeah,
for
for sure.
sure, for sure.
Lila, it's been an amazing, amazing, amazing conversation. Thank you,
Thank
my
you so
Aquarius
much.
sister.
Yeah, for sure.
and and if nobody ever told you, listen, your Afro freaking rocks. I love
Thank
when
you.
you
I
got
love it. A lot of people are always telling me, yo, you need to lock up your hair and put on dreads. And I'm like, these are my dreads, these are my locks. Like, I can do whatever I want to do with my hair. There's no way I'm going to be locking it down into anything. But
Mhm,
thank you. I really enjoyed the conversation. I appreciated that, you did your research, because
mhm.
trust me, I've been on interviews where they're basically telling me that they know that me and Protoje are brother and sisters. So it's been a blessing. It's been a blessing. Thank
But
you so much.
clearly, no problem, because clearly in what video was it again? On this end of it, it was the where I'm coming from. You
Yeah,
could see 2017 was basically
yeah,
when you came
yeah,
to your house in country and you were eating a
exactly.
box of KFC.
Yeah,
So you know what I mean? You have to pay
yeah,
attention. I pay
I
attention.
get, yeah, for sure, for sure.
Leila, thank you so very much. Let me give you an outro and get you out of here.
All
Well,
right.
ladies and gentlemen, this is Muscle, and this has been another Two Line Music Hut's Entertainment Report podcast, and we are out. Thank you. This podcast is brought to you by www.twolinesmusichut.com.